Can you imagine being in net, getting pucks shot at you, and having this on your face right here?
No, thank you.
No way.
I couldn't.
That's unbelievable.
Build me up, break me down, never come around. You say I left, wasn't right, we're just making rounds. Speed it up, slow it down.
So today we're at Gary Warwick's Warwick Masks company. Today we're gonna go check out some of the helmets that he's used. Matt wears them. I used to wear them back in the day. It's like a museum in there. Why don't you tell him a little bit about a couple of the goalies that have worn the masks?
I'm sure all of you know Ed Belfour, Marty Turco, Dominic Hasek, Pascal Leclerc, Ryan Miller especially. Fantastic product. Gary's awesome with lots of stories.
We're excited to take a tour. Let's go check it out real quick. Gary, good to see you.
Good to see you.
This is Gary Jr. He works on all the helmets here at Warwick Masks, and he refurbishes them, gets them ready to go for all these goalies that inquire to get masks. This is where they all come from, this shop in Port Huron. So thank you for letting us come out.
Yes. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah. What are you doing right here? We're working on some masks.
Yeah, we're changing out a cage on this one. As you can see, and all goalies should be aware of this, as soon as you start your eye bars, as soon as they start to get dented in like this, your center bar on your cat eye cage will get pushed in the middle, and what it does, it starts to stretch the cage out and it starts to crack the shell around the facial opening. So goalies would be smart to inspect it after getting hit with a puck, and either in practice or in a game. So
and goalies kind of get hit in the head a lot with pucks.
It's one of the best things that they can do.
Yeah. So before we get into the history of stuff, what do goalies usually bring their helmets in for? Like, what's something common that you see a lot of times?
If Matt would grab this one right here, this one was just shipped in from, I believe, Seattle, and this is an older Nabokov style mask. So what we did is the cage on it was pretty good, this Tim Thomas style cage. So the padding was removed. We start to put in the new padding. Some of the paint chips were touched up with white paint, and so he'll get a new pad job and new straps on his back plate, and it'll be back in the mail to him.
So you do stuff like repad the helmets,
yes,
fix little scratches.
We will take a busted chin and redo the chin on it like we did on that matte black mask over there. That one just got a new paint job on it, and
it looks brand new.
It looks brand new. You can see the whole chin was completely redone with 4 or 5 new layers of fiberglass and carbon fiber. And of course, I've got the best painters probably in this area that are doing my refinishing work. So
it looks good.
So I know you mentioned before of different masks. I know you mentioned like Nabokov and stuff. What are the different names of the masks, and what are the differences between them, and how many do you have?
Well,
I guess style-wise, because every goalie has a different style, right?
They
depending
do.
On their head.
They do. And when you come over here and you compare the Nabokov style to like the Eddie Belfour mask, you can see the size differential. The Belfour is a little smaller, comes with a little bit smaller chin. Your face is a little bit closer to the cage, not much, but the top is rolled back a little bit. These splines are more pronounced on the Nabokov than they are on the Belfour. Then when you compare like the Ryan Miller style to the Pascal Leclerc style, you can see that the forehead was brought in smaller flat spot. The chin, the pronounced bump on the chin was removed, and it's just a bit wider in the chin. So real slight differences on these two styles.
So you can get any kind of options on these if you want, say, a longer chin or a shorter?
Yes, it depends, because you got a lot of good goalies are 5'10", 5'11", and then you have some that are 6'4". So the 6'4" guys with the longer neck might want a 4-inch, maybe a 4 1/8 inch chin.
Right.
And especially if they don't wear a dangler, they're going to want that too. So.
Right. Yeah, so it kind of depends on the size of the goalie's head and
what they're used to wearing too. I'll always ask them, what size is the chin on your current mask, and they'll take a measurement from the bottom of the facial opening down to the bottom of the chin, and let me know, and we'll kind of work with them on that.
Right. Now I see the Dominic Hasek mask back there. Now that was my favorite goalie growing up. What was the story behind measuring his head and why did he wear that kind of helmet?
He just liked it. When he came out of Buffalo and we got him in Detroit, he wanted to keep the same style. So we copied his Cooper helmet and came up with this, made out of our real good, carbon fiber, and we've been using a Negra composite material for 8 or 9 years. Real good E-glass. There's Kevlar in these, so.
Do you still sell a lot of them?
We do. We started just to start making them again recently, and all of a sudden when we put them out there online for people to see, it sparks a lot of interest. There's still quite a few guys wearing this style.
Well, that style was iconic for Dominic Hasek. I just remember when he played for Detroit that helmet right there was something that stands out the most. I know you got the Hockey Town shell right there.
Yeah, we got the Hockey Town shell with
a
lot of guys, of course, in Detroit and Michigan love the motors with the smoke coming up top, and it's got his Dominator nickname on the back, signed, and just
so cool.
Really
That's
nice.
awesome.
That is really cool. What are some of the people that have came and gotten Warwick helmets?
Of course, I mean, when you look at some of these pictures up here, you see a real young Ryan Miller. There's one up there, and there's another one here with his Michigan State
real young
coat on. Those were in my dad's basement.
Yeah.
That's where this operation started.
Yeah.
And in the late 60s, my dad started, as you can see up here, he had to go out there with no helmet on.
Yeah.
So he was highly motivated to learn how to do this
Right.
stuff. And, Ryan's been in the shop. These pictures, of course, were taken in the shop with him and my dad. Up there you'll see Drew Miller with my dad and Ryan, and that was done at the Munn Ice Arena. So a couple weeks ago I was lucky enough to have Brandon Maxwell, 2018 U.S. Olympic goalie, come in here and get his first mask. He came over from Canada, from Guelph, and he's getting ready to head up to Montreal to do some training with Jonathan Bernier.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
Now you ship helmets all over the world?
All over the world, yep. We just shipped a couple over to Korea for the sled team. A couple of their goalies needed them. They ordered last year, and now they're ordering some more this year, so we shipped them over there. And
now, how does the process go?
Yeah.
If somebody can't come in here to see you?
well, what they do is we like to get a measurement of their head circumference, maybe a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch above the eyebrow, and I take it from there. And they'll give me an idea of what shell they may like. If they don't know what shell would work out the best for them, I'll give them a couple of suggestions, and usually get them in something that fits real well for them.
So from there, you just take all the measurements and you pretty much custom build it around their heads. I remember when I went and came in here many years ago and got my mask, I remember all the measurements, and you pretty much built the helmet around my head, and that's what you do for every single goalie that comes in
for
here.
every single goalie. So we expect to have a super comfortable fit. And when the puck comes in, whether it hits you in the forehead or in the cage, we hope the shell absorbs most of the impact, and then of course the padding will hopefully absorb it and shoot the impact into the outside layers of the padding and out the ear area. So
you don't get any of that ringing in your ears.
very
right?
little, because we also put in a sound dampening material that lines the inside ear area, and that also helps deaden the ringing and
Very cool.
keeps it quiet for the goalie, because that's what they want.
Well, I know back in the day, and this is a little story from me, I remember back when I was playing, and I used to obviously all goalies want equipment, and they always beg for new goalie pads and new sticks and new everything. And one of the first pieces of equipment I ever begged my dad to get was a Warwick mask, because I used to see all these other people playing in my league that had Warwick masks, and I used to beg my dad all the time to come in here to Port Huron to order my mask. And I remember when I came in here with my family to get my mask, and that was one of my first memories of getting a first piece of hockey equipment that I ever wanted, because I always knew how well these helmets were made, and talking to other people that had them, they loved them. Well, can you take us through your shop a little bit and
Yes.
kind of show us?
Sure.
We can start at the front over there and make our way back here. Let's kind of check out the shop, and you see all these pictures of all these different athletes, but this place hasn't really changed since the first time I've came here. It's just added more pictures.
You guys want to start up this
Yeah,
area?
let's start up here and take us through some of these pictures a little bit.
Back in this area, I like to come back here. I can do any kind of chin repair work. I keep my composite materials back here, my sandpaper. There's a lot of files back here, and over here I've got my West System resin and my hardener, and I can do small repairs in here.
And that's just for little chips in the helmet.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Small cracks, bigger stuff would be done a few miles away at our fabrication building.
It's crazy how much the game has changed throughout the years and different little parts of the equipment
Even in 10
change.
years,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
amazing.
When we've had an opportunity, my dad and I, with our trips down to Joe Louis Arena, we've been able to meet some pretty cool guys at our store downtown. That's my brother Chad. He makes goalie masks out in Colorado called the Defender mask, and that was him and I with Hasek at the downtown store when he came in and picked up his Senator's mask. And Chris Chelios stopped to take a picture with me when he was with the Blackhawks, and we were delivering Eddie's mask. And when we were delivering Marty Baron's mask, we got to chat with Henrik Lundqvist for 15-20 minutes, and he tried on some of our masks and thought they were pretty nice. Of course, you got Ryan Miller over here when he was with the Sabres, and my dad holding the cup with Eddie in '99 when he won the cup with the Dallas Stars. So
Very cool.
we had
Very nice.
a lot of good goalies, and of course the young stud over here, Peter Mrazek. I went and met with him in Royal Oak when he was with the Wings. He's 23 years old in that picture, and still doing real well today for Carolina.
Yeah.
Had a
He's
great-
doing all right, I'd
Yeah,
say.
he's doing
Yeah.
very, very well.
Doing pretty good. Pretty good.
And then we come up into here, and we've got quite a few different masks from the early days. Like one of the ones that we've always liked talking about was, the Lefty Wilson mask, which is four layers of fiberglass. And
Can I see that real quick?
Lefty is shown in that picture right there, tending to an injured Terry Sawchuk, who was obviously playing with no mask on at that time. And Lefty started to develop this facial plate, and the goalies really liked it.
Can you imagine being in net, getting pucks shot at you, and having this on your face right here?
No, thank you.
No way.
I couldn't.
That's unbelievable.
Now this one here is one of my dad's earlier masks. Very similar in style to the Lefty Wilson. Size-wise, a little bit bigger, not much. Probably more like 6 layers of fiberglass in it, but it did, from getting hit, it did break where the straps are supposed to be run through. So
Unbelievable.
very early mask right here.
It's amazing.
You can see kind of the progression a little bit of the different.
Well-
It started getting a little thicker and
Yeah.
thicker, and
Detroit Vipers.
That's a Detroit
Paint job?
Vipers mask. Yes, and this was one of their more famous Viper goalies over there, Kevin Weeks.
oh yeah,
Mr. No 5-hole.
yep.
They eventually made their way into something like this here, which, as you can see, the nose was built out further. This mask was made for Gilles Gilbert. Came out a little bit too small, so another goalie got this mask, and he wore it, and then he wanted a Warwick mask, so my dad traded it for him. He got him into a Warwick, and it's got the Ernie Higgins sticker on the inside. He's a
wow.
famous mask maker out of Massachusetts,
Wow.
and he made all the masks for the Boston Bruins and many other goalies.
Wow, it's got the back plate on it too, and
Yep.
everything, and
Yep, custom back plate, very small.
that's unbelievable. I mean, some of these masks, you just think, like I said before, just having them on your face when pucks are getting shot at you, and it's amazing how the progression starts to go through a little bit thicker, a little more coverage on the face, and now you get to the modern day mask, which everybody wears. It's crazy to see the progression of
Well, you
where
think
it's
about
came
the
from.
beginning. That
Right.
was state of the art.
Right. Yeah, that was
You
new.
were awesome if you had one of those.
Right. Very
And
cool.
now you look at us having the full facial, cat eyes, and
right.
it's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
And this is all your padding that you have too for the
Yes.
helmets? Is this what you use mostly?
Yeah, this is a lot of the padding that we use right now, and
I noticed the green padding. What's that?
some of the green padding. This padding right here is called unequal padding. This has got a Kevlar back, and we can glue it on to the EVA foam, and it's very strong and excellent for kids that have had problems with any kind of concussions or
Right.
stuff like that. It just helps out.
Wow, very cool.
This padding has grooves in it, the bumps, so the padding sits on that and creates spacing in the middle of it, and it just
It
really
kind of
helps out.
distributes the.
It absorbs.
It's almost like sound when people have in studios. They have those foam things on the wall to
Yes.
redirect the sound.
It
It's
absorbs
kind
it
of the same
and
thing from
disperses
the hit.
the impact.
Okay, very cool.
This is kind of a cool mask right here. This was Cam Johnson's 2016 North Dakota mask, and it's got, as you can see, it's got 2 moons on the top and 1 on the back plate, and they glow in the dark.
Oh, wow.
And it's a really a cool mask.
And who painted this one?
This was done by Sila Brush.
Okay.
And Sylvia paints up in, I believe, the Quebec area.
Wow.
And she paints for a lot of high-end goalies and does a real nice job.
Very cool.
This one was a Marty Brodeur replica painted by Sylvia Portois. This is Marty's painter. Did the wins for .691, and he's got the records for shutouts at .125, and that was a picture of him playing street hockey in his tennis shoes.
That was an actual picture of him?
That's done off an actual picture.
That's really cool.
So which of these helmets have been game worn?
Well, some of these, I'm not too sure how many of these are game worn, but I know Jeff Lurg's walleye mask is. This was made for Pasquale Leclerc, and we just ended up getting some of these back. This was Scott Clemenson's Florida mask. I don't know that any of them were ever worn in NHL games or not, but we were lucky enough to get some of these back. This one was worn by a European goalie who played for the, so you can see it says Blue Bulls on it, so there's got to be a team over, and it's a Dave Art paint job too.
So tell me a little bit about the history of the shop and your dad and where it all started and how did this begin? I mean, obviously this looks like a well-oiled machine right now in the shop, but you mentioned you started in the basement. Like where did Warwick Masks begin?
He started off actually in a house not too far from here down by the shore of Lake Huron, and he started creating these masks in his basement, and at that time they were just facial plates with the eyes cut out of them, and they were something really that he could make for himself to go out and play hockey with. One of the pro goalies in town for the Port Huron Flags, Norm Jocks, had a mask made up by Lefty Wilson, the Red Wings trainer, and gave my dad the general idea of how the mold was taken of his face and how to lay fiberglass over top of that. You could put some release agent on the mold, start laying your glass over there, and remove it, and then start trimming it and putting the holes in it.
Wow.
And that's how he started. And back in the old days, he wasn't selling that many. He was doing it part-time. He was a construction superintendent, and he did not make that many masks per year until the face started getting cut out. The cages were attached to the shell, better safety. And
what year was that when you started really getting into the mask business?
I mean, obviously when Eddie Belfour started using our masks in '94, and the masks were getting stronger and lighter, and with a big goalie like that wearing them, other goalies started to follow. He developed a close relationship with Graham Watson from TPS, and we started to take care of a lot of his goalies, who was obviously one of the big goalies was Dominic Hasek.
Right. I remember from Warwick Masks, and still today, is a lot of word of mouth. Like a lot of people refer people to, they always come funnel here.
Yeah. Go see Gary, he's great. Call him. Go talk to Shelly. She's awesome.
And that's something I remember from your dad as well, that everybody always had great things to say. I've enjoyed having fishing conversations with them every time we were in here, and it's definitely been
He was a big fisherman, and a lot of goalie dads that come in here are also goalie or fishermen, and they like seeing these pictures and just a lot of common traits with them. So
cool. As you can see with all this stuff, it's a very precise science, and it's custom made for the goalie's head, which is awesome. That's one of the reasons why we love sending all of our goalies here. Yeah. And it's a great place to go. I encourage everybody to come and check this place out, because even if you don't get your helmet here and you just get your pad refurbished or fixed up or new padding, the shop here is unbelievable. So it's a really cool place to come visit. So we want to thank Gary for having us come out. Obviously we're decked out in our goalie helmets here. We're ready to go. Gary's looking good, Matt's looking good. I, of course, am looking real good. So thank you again for having us come out and showing us a little bit of the masks. And thank you for taking us on a tour of your shop. just like the Dominator. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Looking stylish.